The transmission crackled, a faint pulse of static threading through the void, as if the universe itself were exhaling a warning. Captain Zerar sat alone in the cockpit of the Urindor*, his ship a solitary speck adrift in the uncharted fringes of the Orion Arm. The stars outside were wrong, too sharp, too cold, their light slicing through the viewport like needles. He'd been out here for months, chasing a signal that shouldn't exist, a rhythmic hum that pulsed at the edge of human hearing, detected only by the ship's quantum sensors. The mission was simple at first: trace the anomaly, map its origin, report back to the Coalition. But simplicity had eroded, replaced by a gnawing unease that clung to his bones like damp rot. The signal wasn't just a beacon. It was a summons. Zerar's fingers trembled as he adjusted the console, the hum growing louder, more insistent, threading itself into his thoughts. He hadn't slept in days, maybe weeks, time blurred out here where the stars refused to align with any known chart. His reflection in the viewport was a stranger's, gaunt, eyes sunken, skin stretched taut over a skull that felt too small for the questions crowding inside. The Urindor* SAI, a cold voice named Lyra, had stopped responding 3 days ago, its last words a cryptic warning, patterns inconsistent with known phenomena. Recommend immediate withdrawal. He hadn't listened. He couldn't. The signal was alive, and it knew his name. The cockpit's air grew heavy, thick with the metallic tang of recycled oxygen and something else, something organic, like wet earth or decaying flesh. Zerar's pulse quickened as the signal shifted, no longer a hum but a voice, faint and layered, whispering in a language that felt like knives scraping the inside of his skull. He couldn't understand the words, but their meaning seeped into him. Come. See, no. His hands moved without thought, plotting a course toward a planet that hadn't appeared on any scan until now. A jagged, obsidian world orbiting a star that burned an unnatural violet. The planet's surface was a labyrinth of spires and chasms, its atmosphere a shimmering veil that pulsed in time with the signal. He named it Erebus, after the ancient deity of darkness, because naming it made it feel less like a fever dream. As the Urindor* descended, the whispers grew louder, overlapping, a chorus of voices that weren't human, weren't anything he could name. The ship shuddered, its hull groaning under pressures no engineer could have anticipated. Zerar's vision blurred, his thoughts fragmenting as the planet's surface loomed closer. The spires weren't rock. They moved, writhing like tendrils, their surfaces glistening with a viscous sheen. He landed in a clearing, if it could be called that, a flat expanse of black glass surrounded by those living spires. The airlock hissed open, and the smell hit him. Rot, yes, but also something sweet, intoxicating, like nectar laced with poison. He stepped onto Erebus, his boots sinking slightly into the ground, which pulsed faintly, as if it had a heartbeat. The whispers were everywhere now, not just in his head but in the air, the ground, the spires that swayed without wind. Zerar's flashlight flickered, its beam swallowed by the darkness that seemed to breathe around him. He walked, driven by a compulsion he couldn't name, toward a structure at the clearing's edge. A towering edifice of twisted, organic shapes, like a cathedral carved from the corpse of some colossal beast. The entrance yawned open, a maw lined with translucent filaments that quivered as he approached. Inside, the air was warm, humid, the walls slick and pulsating, their surfaces etched with symbols that hurt to look at, as if they were trying to rewrite his thoughts. He didn't know how long he wandered those halls, time unraveling like a frayed thread. The whispers guided him, their tone shifting from command to invitation, promising answers, promising truth. His mind screamed to turn back, but his body obeyed the call, descending deeper into the structure. The corridors narrowed, the walls closing in, their surfaces now unmistakably alive, veins pulsing beneath a thin membrane. He felt watched, not by eyes but by something vast, something that saw not just his body but his thoughts, his fears, the fragile scaffolding of his sanity. Then he saw her. She emerged from the shadows, or perhaps the shadows became her, a figure both beautiful and grotesque, her form a paradox that made his stomach churn. She was tall, her limbs elongated, her skin a shimmering obsidian that seemed to drink the light. Her face was almost human, but her eyes were voids, twin singularities that pulled at his soul. A crown of writhing tendrils adorned her head, each tipped with a glowing orb that pulsed in time with the planet's heartbeat. She was the alien queen, though Zerar didn't know how he knew her title. It was as if the knowledge had been carved into his mind. She spoke, her voice a symphony of the whispers, each word a needle threading through his thoughts. "You lost your way, Captain Zerar," she said, her lips curling into a smile that was both tender and predatory. "But I found you. Welcome to my world." He wanted to scream, to run, but his body was no longer his own. Her presence was a gravity well, inescapable, drawing him closer. She gestured, and the walls parted, revealing a chamber vast enough to hold a city, its ceiling lost in a haze of violet light. At its center was a throne, or perhaps an altar, surrounded by figures. Hundreds, thousands, human and otherwise, their bodies suspended in a web of glistening filaments. They weren't dead, not exactly. Their eyes were open, their expressions a mix of ecstasy and terror, as if they were seeing something no mind could hold. "They came as you did," the queen said, her voice a caress that made his skin crawl. "They sought truth. I gave it to them." Zerar's knees buckled, his mind reeling as fragments of memory surfaced. Names, faces, ships lost in the void, explorers and scientists who'd vanished in this sector. The Coalition had sent him to find answers, but they hadn't known what they were asking. He hadn't known. The queen stepped closer, her tendrils brushing his face, their touch cold and electric. Images flooded his mind, stars collapsing, galaxies unraveling, a universe not born but asterisk made asterisk. Its architects vast and indifferent, their experiments spanning eons. Humanity was a speck, a fleeting thought in a mind too immense to comprehend. And Erebus was no planet. It was a fragment of that mind, a node in a network that spanned realities. "You see now," she whispered, her breath warm against his ear, "you are not lost. You are asterisk found asterisk." He tried to speak, to ask what she was, what this place was, but his voice was gone, swallowed by the weight of her presence. She guided him to the throne, the filaments reaching for him, their touch gentle but unyielding. He saw the truth then, or pieces of it. The signal wasn't a call for help or a warning. It was a lure, a trap set by something that fed not on flesh, but on understanding, on the moment when a mind grasped the unbearable vastness of existence and shattered under its weight. The queen was no ruler, no god. She was a conduit, a servant of those architects, her planet a crucible where curiosity became despair. The filaments pierced his skin, painless but invasive, threading through muscle and bone, linking him to the web. His thoughts unraveled, merging with the others, their voices a cacophony of anguish and awe. He saw the universe as it was, a tapestry of suffering, its beauty inseparable from its cruelty, its order a facade hiding chaos that laughed at meaning. Humanity's quest for knowledge was a joke, a moth chasing a flame that would consume it. Zerar's last coherent thought was a plea or ignorance for the bliss of not knowing, but it was too late. The queen's eyes held him, and in them he saw eternity, not as a promise but as a curse. Days, years, or centuries passed, he couldn't tell. The asterisk Urindor asterisk sat abandoned, its hull overtaken by the planet's writhing growths. The Coalition would send others, as they always did, drawn by the same signal, the same promise of answers. On Erebus, The queen waited, her smile unchanging, her invitation eternal. Zerar remained, suspended in the web, his mind a fragment of a greater whole, forever seeing, forever knowing, forever lost. And the universe watched, indifferent, as another soul learned the cost of truth. That some questions are graves, and to ask them is to lie down and never rise again.